the facts change, will you change? I mean, green hydrogen not viable now anywhere, not economically viable. If that changes, will you change? And will you be adaptive?
Well, that's why you need a mixture in your grid that's zero emissions. Nuclear is zero emissions, as is renewables. So,
yeah, no, but green hydrogen, if that does come online, would you embrace it?
Yeah. But what you've got to do is set the fundamentals to be able to support any changes.
Right.
You can't
so
do
you're
that with
happy to leave that up to the private sector. Would you have any incentives like Labor did, but only when it's produced?
Well, you can't keep using Australian taxpayers' money to subsidise industries.
I know, but when on green hydrogen, to be fair, David, what Labor was doing is they put an incentive in place in the last budget, said if you can produce this at a cost-effective rate, we'll subsidise that. I mean, that's only a subsidy on success. Is that a bad way to do things?
Yeah. No, what's a better way to do is to have the fundamentals that attracts long-term investment in manufacturing. That's proper industrial relations policy, and that's about reliable, affordable baseload power that underpins it. So to give you a perfect example, you're going to need 3 times the energy generation to have manufacturing in this country. Tomago has 950 megawatts a year to keep it going. To go an all renewables approach with some batteries that'll only last 30 minutes, so you need a lot of batteries. You're going to need 3 gigawatts of energy generation. Just imagine the wind turbines, solar panels and transmission lines across the Hunter Valley if we go down Chris Bowen and Anthony Albanese's path of an all renewables approach.
You're still going to have transmission lines though, aren't you, David? I mean, and I know you've talked about the farmers that suffer here in prime agricultural land. You're still going to have the transmission lines. You're still going to have to build them, even if you're only doing 50% renewables and half of what Labor's doing. I mean, you've got to be upfront to those farmers and on that prime agricultural land. You're still going to require those transmission lines, aren't you?
But we've been very honest. We're going to need transmission lines, but we're going to need a lot less.
Yeah.
Need a lot less than what Labor will.
How do you decide where they go?
We're having half. And that's through the process of making sure that we send those investment signals about the energy mix that we have. And that'll obviously be investments that are made, and we work with state governments because we don't have the control of the planning pen onshore. That's owned by the states. The states have that responsibility. So all we do at a federal level is create that environment. We do have call-in powers offshore, but onshore it's around local and state government approvals. But what we do at a federal level is set those investment signals. And that's why many are condemning us at the moment. Those that are condemning us are those that have personal vested financial interests in an all renewables approach. They're not pure in the end game here, because if you want the end game, we actually will have a cleaner energy grid than an all renewables approach. And so I don't see why anyone's condemning our plan, because at the end, our energy grid will be cleaner than an all renewables approach, and yet we provide a mix and we're cheaper.
Yeah, after 2 decades of the energy wars, I'm not sure anyone comes to this debate with much purity, I've got to say, David. But look, a pleasure to have you on the show this morning. A pleasure to have you on AM Agenda. I love that you show up. I love our chats. And people think we're fighting all the time, but we actually quite like each other. Merry Christmas, David.
We do,
enjoy the rest of your week. I don't reckon it'll be a very restful Christmas for you, but do what you can.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. Have a great one, mate.